Hello!
And welcome to
Sort of the Story.
Late at night.
Late night edition. Nick at night, baby.
Oh!
We usually record this podcast at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon after we've woken up and found our stories and ate something resembling breakfast.
And the sun is out.
Maybe lunch. And the sun is out.
And right now it is 11:54 p.m. Max and I are both wearing kimonos.
I'm drinking wine.
And I have a Truly, and since I don't like that, I also have a tea.
We have like a candle going. This feels like the spooky ghost story edition. It's not.
Fairy lights are on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed out I didn't do ghost stories.
I know, me too.
I literally almost did. I had a book open and I was like, not that one.
I was trying to find a good werewolf story and I couldn't find one because there aren't any good stories about werewolves.
There's good mythology.
Yeah, but it's just like, oh, here's what they're like. There aren't like stories, like an individual thing outside of things that were presented as like, this is what actually happened. But that usually doesn't have like the narrative structure of a story that I was looking for. So anyways.
We should do a mythology night.
Yeah.
By night, I mean recording.
Night.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you want to just get into it?
I think we should. I believe you're first this week.
I'm first. Last week I cried, and this week I'm not gonna. I picked one specifically to prove to everyone I'm not a fucking baby, so.
I think that this might also be the first week that we're repeating books. Both of us are repeating books this week.
I've repeated a bunch of books.
Oh.
I was thinking this today as I was picking up this book that I've used before, that I am a little bit like a cartoon character that wears the same outfit over and over again. I'm like, it's the Brothers Grimm, it's the Swedish fairy tales that make me cry. Or it's now this Tales of Superhuman Powers.
Yes. Tales of Superhuman Powers by Senga Varangzalka.
I was going to have you try it, because I did a garbage job last time. Senga Varangzalka. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and start.
Yeah.
All right, Max. So, as you already mentioned, this is from Tales of Superhuman Powers, 55 Traditional Stories from Around the World by Senga Varangzalka. I'm so sorry. I also never looked up whether or not they are a man or a woman or non-binary. I don't know. I didn't do any research on them yet again. That being said, I really seem like I feel like I know them. I know their personality because they put a lot of their personality into this wonderful book. And I'm obsessed with it. Okay, so I'm going to be telling you the first story in this compilation. It is a Roma story from Transylvania, which I thought was very cool and spooky.
Hoo-hoo.
It's
God
not
damn it, I wish I had found a werewolf story.
It's not a spooky story, but I do like it a lot. It's called János and Rózsa.
Ooh, well
János
done.
and Rózsa. Well, they put a pronunciation guide at the back of it to specifically be like, this is how you do it. Okay, so as I mentioned in the past episode about this book, Chenga uses or puts a lot of sources in their stuff. They tell where it's from, they tell the age group, they tell what Arns, Thompson, Uther type the stories are, and they also tell where they got these stories from, because they're retelling stories that are either oral stories that they have, collected or from other books in the past. So this is a quote from the beginning to get us in. It says, "This tale has been collected by Olga Nagy in the 1970s, recorded both in Romani and Hungarian languages, and the storyteller was Gyula David, who was 52. So that's who originally did the story, and then Chenga is retelling it.
A great example of ethical folklorism, by the way.
God, they're so good. I am, legitimately obsessed with them. They put their thoughts at the end, but they, oof.
Amazing.
They really do their
love it.
Fucking work.
Cite your sources. Credit
Cite your
people who tell you
sources.
Stories.
Yeah. Okay. Lean back. Listen to the tale. A poor father had 2 sons. Their names were Rózsa, who was older, and János, who was younger. And he raised them in poverty. They had nothing. He did the best they could. But when Rózsa got older, he went out and he was like, "Hey, Dad, I gotta go do me." And then he went out and he basically became a knight and fought really hard and got a lot of honor and glory. And so when he came back home, he brought back fame and fortune, and his family never had to live in poverty again. This is from a much longer story that Chenga mentions that they had to cut in order to make a succinct story. So the first part of the book that it's from is all about Rózsa and his adventures. So he comes home from those adventures and he has money now, and so he ends up allowing János to train and do all the stuff he didn't have when he was growing up, and he gives them he gives him a sword and some armor. And so when János gets older, he's like, hey, go find your own honor and your glory. Like, you're a man. Go out and find adventure. And János is like chomping at the bit. He's like, fuck yeah. Gotta go find adventure. So János goes out and he starts to... Oh, also, this is how I wrote this down in my notes. When I was delirious with tired, and I had to take a 15-minute nap before we recorded. Mm-hmm. But I put, he bought János a sword and armor, and he too went out to find his own fame and fortune. This is his story. Dun dun. I don't know why. I was delirious. So,
Law and Order Transylvania.
Law and Order Transylvania! Make it, Dick Wolf! Stop screaming.
Dick Wolf! Dick Wolf! Dick Wolf!
Dick Werewolf in Transylvania.
Where Dick?
Where Dick?
Where is it, Dick?
Hey, Dick, where's your Transylvania episode of Law and Order?
And this has been Spoken Word Poetry by Janey and Max.
Okay, so János is traveling, and he has some adventures here and there, and eventually his travels take him to a faraway kingdom called the Red Kingdom. And this is like a beautiful kingdom where everything is like shades of crimson, and it's just this really vibrant, beautiful place. And he stops in at a tavern, and he walks in, and he orders some food, and he notices that people are kind of like looking at him, but they're not like making eye contact, and the musicians are playing their body tune and stuff like that, but they're all like, there's a stranger here. And so like these people maybe have been terrorized by something. Mm-hmm. Changa mentions at the end of this that this part of the story reminds them of D&D, and it made me so mad. I know, I saw it on your face.
This is just the scene from Lord of the Rings when Frodo is looking for Aragorn. Strider.
Ugh, this makes me so mad.
The same.
Anyway, so
a dark stranger in the corner of a tavern.
So the dark stranger is János, and he starts eating and drinking. And then eventually the door bursts open, and this man called the Iron Knight walks in. And he's famous, and everyone's like, oh, and they all like go back to what they're doing, and the musicians are like, no, 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 no. Mm-hmm. You know that song?
Yeah.
That musicians play?
Yep.
So,
the song.
Yeah, the only
the
song
music
they
song,
play at taverns.
as we call it.
Oh my god. And so the Iron Knight walks up to his table immediately, and he's like, I haven't seen you here before. And János is like, I haven't seen you either. That being said, I know who you are, and I'm a big fan, buddy. And he's like, really? And he's like, yeah, you're so brave, and you're so cool. Like, you're the Iron Knight. I recognize you by your, I don't know, I assume iron suit. He's like, wow, thanks. Can I sit? And he's like, please.
I assume rather than, when you say iron suit, you don't mean like a suit of armor, you just mean like a 3-piece suit made of iron, and he's really uncomfortable.
He's a 3-piece suit that has been ironed to perfection. He's the
Ironed Knight. Who's your tailor?
So the Ironed Knight. He sits down with him, and they start eating and drinking. They order more drink and stuff like that, and they're getting really, like, just, you know, they're getting to know each other, and they realize they're immediate best friends, and János is like, hey, do you want to start a club? And the Iron Knight's like, oh my god, like a boys club? And he's like, yeah, like a club for the boys.
The boys.
The boys. And he's like, oh my god, like, what are we going to call it? And he's like, you know what? Let's not even give it, let's just call it the Brotherhood and not give it a fancy name. And he's like, fucking rad, dude. And then I assume they, like,
keep them guessing.
I assume they cut their fingers and then touch blood, and they're like, blood brothers. That's what I imagine.
With, like, the butter knife that's included in the little cutlery roll on the tavern table.
No, his suit is ironed so crisply that he's able to slide his finger across it and give himself a paper
That's
cut.
A sharp-dressed man.
Wow! That man looks pressed. So as they're becoming blood brothers and kissing just a little, the door bursts open again, and another famous champion comes in. This is the Son of the Wind.
Oh my god!
I know! So he joins their table, and he's like, what's up, guys? You being, like, a little gay over there and here? And they're like, a little. And he's like, can I sit? And they're like, yeah. And so he sits down, and they all start talking about their adventures, and János is like, I wish I had more adventures. And they're like, no, you're so cool and brave. Like, you're gonna get there, little buddy. Like, but you're our leader. And he's like, yeah, it's me, your leader. And so then he's like, can I be in your brotherhood? And he's like, hell yeah, you can, because you're one of the boys.
The boys.
So then they all, like, cut their fingers again, and they
all have little
fingers.
air horns.
They have tiny air horns they bring with them. But, like, the Son of the Wind got confused, and instead of his air horn on his keychain, he brought up his pepper spray.
Jesus Christ. We've done that.
Yeah.
We have tales of accidentally pepper spraying ourselves.
This is a sidebar, but we were not allowed to have pepper spray in the first house we lived together because Max and I both had it, and we both accidentally pepper sprayed ourselves.
Over the course of a month, there were 4 pepper spray incidents.
Anyway, just so you know, you can't just spray it in the sink hoping to practice. It goes everywhere. Yeah.
That's a lesson that I learned the hard way.
And I also learned. And then we learned 2 more times. Anyway. So, next in, so like, of course, more and more people are coming to this tavern. The next in is Son of the Sun, which is an unfortunate
Very
name.
confusing.
Not to be confused with the Daughter of the Sun. I'm assuming it's her brother. Anyway, so Son of the Sun comes in, and then the Golden Prince, who's different than the Son of the Sun.
Sure.
They come in, they all eat and drink, they join their table, and they all, like, kiss a little, and then, like, become, like, best friends, and they're part of the Brotherhood.
Love it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like, plates and, like, barrels of ale, like, are just starting to pile up around them. And everyone in the tavern's like, wow, like, these guys sure are eating everything. Like, Jesus. Then suddenly, the door bursts open again. It is kicked open, disrespectfully. And 3 demons walk in.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they're demons from the Kingdom of Darkness, Max.
I hate it when I'm making a blood pact with my bros and then 3 demons walk into the bar.
Okay, so 3
Mondays.
demons walk. One of them has 7 heads. One of them has 14 heads. Guess how many heads the third one has?
None.
It's 27.
Oh.
It doesn't match the pattern, and I want to rip this book in half. Anyway, so...
I want one behind them with no heads, just, like, following them, be like, come on, guys, just give me one!
The 27 one stole 6 of his heads. Just like, son of a bitch. So they sit down and they start making some trouble and stuff like that, but everyone's like, oh, they're still, like, whispering and stuff. And then the 3 worst troublemakers in the world walk in.
In addition to the demons?
Yeah. So now, like, the demons aren't the last ones to walk in. At this point, I feel like the tavern already had people in it and magicians. No.
Musicians?
Yes. Not to mention all those crafty magicians. Going table to table, demanding you pick a card. The musicians are in there at the tavern. Owner, there's a little barkeep, the daughter of the innkeeper, and then, like, all of these knights who are all, like, just, like, touching fingers and, like, being really nice to each other. And then there's a table full of demons, and they have so many heads. You might as well count those each as other people.
Yeah. That's a lot of guys.
It's too many guys. And so now 3 more walk in. And these are the worst troublemakers in the world. They are the Knight of Bones, the Knight of Wood, and the Knight of Mold. He's my favorite.
I love those knights.
Yeah, they're pretty great. And so they're really rowdy. They demand food and then entertainment, and they're like, everybody keep playing your music! And they were like, we never stopped. And they're like, how dare you! And they're like, I just realized what song I was playing.
Towards the end there, it sounded a little bit like the Deliverance, like, banjo.
Oh, I
really like the idea of, like, setting up, like, going in with your band to do a set at a bar, and you just play the Deliverance theme on the banjo nonstop all night. There's, like, a drummer there who's just holding sticks and not playing anything, and it's just one guy on a banjo.
1, 2, 3, 4, and then none of the other ones play music. He's like, again? Guys, we practice. So... they are doing their thing, and the Brotherhood is staying out of it. They're like, and what they're whispering about is, those guys are really scary. Maybe we should just, like, be, like, here and quiet. And everyone's like, yeah, that sounds great. I'm not gonna say anything if you don't. So then they just, like, let them be rowdy for a bit, and they all ignore them. And then János is like, cool, I gotta pee. And then he gets up, and he goes to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. So he's gone now. Wouldn't that be weird if this is where the story ended?
And then he had a heart attack in the bathroom and died.
The end! So, the Knight of Mold looks behind, he keeps going back and looking at all those demons with all their heads, and so he nudges his brother, the Knight of Wood, and says, hey, go slap a demon in the face. And the Knight of Wood's like, oh, don't have to ask me twice. So he gets up, he goes to the youngest demon, and he bitch slaps him into dust.
Oh my god!
He slaps him so hard, he turns into dust.
How do you bitch slap someone on all of their faces? Like, do you just have to go down the line, like...
Okay, well, I think that's why he slapped the one with only 7 heads.
Or maybe heads to slap.
Maybe he got the one with no heads. That wasn't
He just slapped the stump, he was like...
Dust. So the other 3 get up to fight him, and they're like, hey! And then the other knights jump up, and they all bitch slap them into dust as well. So now they're all dust. And everyone has, like, stopped playing music, and, like, they're all, like, looking away.
And
like,
coughing.
There's, like, a record scratch, which was weird for the time. And so, he's like, keep playing music! And they're like, na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. That's the song that's in my head now. I don't know why. It's a mariachi band. It doesn't fit with the location. And alas. So, he goes up, the Knight of Mold goes up to Janosch's brotherhood, and they're all, like, looking away, like, doing that thing that Francis does, like, just avoiding eye contact.
Yeah, they're just sipping their beers really slowly.
Yeah, and so he goes up and he's like, hey, why didn't you introduce yourself to us? You think you're too good for us? Like, what are you doing? And the Iron Knight very politely is like, we didn't want to get in your way. And to which the Knight of Mold goes, are you talking back to me? And then bitch slaps him into dust.
Oh, I really thought that Iron Knight was going to be a bigger character.
Nope. He dies immediately after being polite.
Now he's just an allergen.
After being a polite nerd. So then they go back and forth, and they just kind of bitch slap all of his friends. And so János comes out of the bathroom, and he's like, so glad to have my boys. And he watches the Golden Prince get bitch slapped into dust, and he's like, ah, the boys. Now he has no friends.
And then he moonwalks back into the bathroom. He's like, none of my business.
You know what? I left something. I forgot to wash my hands. And so, at this point, after they, like, kill his last friend, one of the knights grabs the innkeeper's daughter and, like, drags her out and throws her up in front. And he's like, hey, you have to sing to us now. And she's like, I've got a cold. And he's like, no, you have to sing to us or we're gonna slap everyone here until they die. This is also a hilarious way to murder a whole group of people. So she's like, she just sings the melody.
Mariachi music.
And they're all like, yay, sounds great. You're doing a really good job.
This story's too silly. We went too far in the opposite direction.
Okay, here's my thing. I think they're kind of nice. So it talks about how they're getting really rowdy, but they're cheering her on. And I'm like, they just really like her singing. Like, I bet that's why they came here.
Their definition of rowdiness is just, like, hanging out
and
like,
murdering.
Being loud and drinking. Well, they got to the murder later. But, like, up until then, they were just, like, loud and hanging out.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, but, like...
Unprovoked murder. Max.
I'm not defending murder.
Hey, Max.
We're gonna get that...
Ooh.
I'm just, you know, like, up until the murder, they were just kind of, they were like, oh, they're so rowdy and nasty, but they were just kind of hanging out at a bar, so, like...
I wonder how many times a week they have to sweep their floors of the dust of their patrons.
This is a terrible, like, this is gonna be terrible for business.
Oh, not great.
I wonder if those people close their tabs.
So, oh my god... The innkeepers let them keep coming in because they bitch slapped them into dust and their wallets are just sitting on top and they're like, oh no.
We live in Savannah, Georgia. I don't know if this is something that's specific to here, but they have signs over all the bars that say like, hey, if you leave without closing out your tab, a 20% gratuity will be added.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing a sign over the bar that says, hey, if you turn into dust, we're adding 25% for gratuity.
I mean, Jesus, I'm coughing so much. It's because I'm laughing too hard. Now I have asthma.
Nerd.
Anyway, so she sees János, who's just come out of the bathroom, and is like staring open mouth at the piles of dust that used to be his friends. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh my god. So she runs out and she hides behind him, which I'm like, how do you know that he's here to protect you? Like, is he particularly
He was sitting
dead?
with all the cool guys.
He was sitting with the cool guys, but now they're all dead. I would keep singing. I don't know, for my survival. So she runs behind him, and she's like, save me! And he's like, don't worry, baby, I got this. And then he breathes out, right? He's like, ooh, and a big shell of steel encompasses the entire tavern.
What?
Yeah. And
he
so,
has superpowers?
Yes. But he was in the bathroom peeing. So immediately the knights are like, what the hell? So they look out, and then they all start laughing at him, and they're like, we're gonna kill you like we killed your friends. But first we're gonna get out of here. And the Knight of Mold is like, I can punch my way out of this. Like, watch this. And he punches the wall and breaks his hand. He's like, ow! What is that, steel? And János is like, yeah, it's clearly steel. It's the color of steel. What? And then the other knights are like, well, watch this. And they just start punching the walls. And they try to beat up the walls for a while. And then their hands are all broken. And they're like, ah! So then they stop and they look over and they're like, oh my god. He might be more powerful than us. And then immediately they fall to their knees and they're like, please don't hurt us, János, please. And they just start like begging him. And János is like, listen, the only use you would have for me is if you could bring these people back to life. But since you can't, and then he starts like winding up his fist cartoon style to punch them into dust. And they're all like, no, we can, watch this, we got a cool superpower too, don't worry, man, like, we can do this. And they breathe out, and they blow on all the dust, and instead of it blowing away, it brings everybody back to life. Which is weird. It's counterintuitive.
This comes back to my point of they were just being silly rowdy boys.
They
weren't dust permanently, they just wanted to have the bar to themselves.
So, like, you're gonna like what happens next.
Nice.
So then, instead of punching their heads off their bodies, he's like, okay, fine. And he picks them all up by the collars of their shirt, and he flings them out into the night. And they all land in different places, but the Knight of Mold lands, coincidentally, in his mom's yard.
Oh, his mom lives in...
He lands in a tree first, and then he, like, falls through a bunch of branches, like, oh, and then he, like, lands in the front yard, and she comes out, she's like, what's all the racket? And she sees her son, and she's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, man, so he tells her what happened, and she's like, ah, yes, well, that makes sense. János is the son of my eldest sister. You know that I'm one of 4 girls, and the eldest one is the meanest, baddest bitch in town. I told you.
They're cousins.
They're cousins. And she's like, so it makes sense. And then she says, and this is a quote, did I not tell you that you were going to get into trouble one day with someone even you cannot defeat? And he's like, ah, Mom.
Come on.
And she drags him in by the ear.
And she's like, now listen, Moldy. And he's like, Knight of Mold, Mom.
Like, yeah, Knight of Mold, and I'm the lady of disdain. Yeah, get inside and I'll make you a plate of sauce.
I'm about to be the lady of grounding you for a week.
No! Mom! So, anyway, so they're gone now.
Yeah.
Those rowdy boys, who I don't think were old enough to be in that tavern. So the Golden Prince is like, hey, János, thanks for not letting me stay dust. And János is like, yeah, cool, man, like, no problem. Anyway, I guess I'm off to nowhere. And he starts walking out into the night, and the Golden Prince is like, what if you came home with me instead? And he's like, okay. Yeah.
I feel like there had to have been an awkward conversation between János and the Knight of Iron, the Iron Knight.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, so like, you got steel powers, huh?
Oh.
And János is like, yeah. And he's like, oh, cool. I just have an iron suit.
I've got an iron.
I don't have any kind of iron powers. But that's really cool, man. I'm really happy for you. That's awesome.
I noticed your shirt's a little wrinkly. You want me to take care of that for you? I can maybe, like, if you give it, I can give it back next week, and it'll be crisp. No?
Storched, bro.
Storched. That's the name of his dry cleaner. Storched by Iron Knight.
That sounds like a clone.
It does. It's gross. Like an energy drink. So János goes back home with the Golden Prince, right, to his father's castle, the Golden Kingdom. And when they get there, they realize that all of the stories of what János had done that day had preceded him, basically. And so, like, by the time he gets there, the Golden King was like, oh shit, János is coming here? hey, my 2 hot daughters, get dressed and put some makeup on. And they're like, ah! They, like, run up because they, I guess, previously had been doing literally nothing, like sitting in the corner waiting to be activated. Like,
They were playing Super Mario Party.
They take off their headsets and they're like, oh, crap! You've seen those videos of gamer girls. It's like them when they have, like, their wigs, their pink wigs with the pigtails, and they have all of their, like, makeup on and stuff like that.
And like, the cat ear headphones.
Yeah. And then it's them without it, basically, and they're just, like, they look normal, basically, and they're on their headsets, and they're like, yeah, well, here's the thing, I was just, like, playing this fucking game, and they have normal voices, and then their phones start ringing, and the phone says, like, sugar daddy, and they're like, you see them put their wigs back on, and put their headphones on, and, like, push up their boobs, and they're like, hi, daddy. Like, they immediately get back to it. Anyway, that's what I'm imagining right now.
Yeah.
I said that in a horrifying way. When I saw the videos, it was cute.
Mm-hmm. It sounds horrifying, but also more gamer girls should just hang out in their pajamas with messy hair and live stream that.
That's becoming more and more popular.
I love it. I do that all of my day, so I would like it if that was something that popular culture approved of.
I approve of it. Hey, man.
Thanks, man.
You got one fan.
Thanks, man.
Okay, so the girls, the king is like, he's gonna marry one of my daughters. Like, he's gonna love them. Like, girl, be charming. And they're like, we'll try. Like, I don't know, man. And so they get dressed up, and they are charming. But János doesn't seem to care about them. And in my head, it's because he cares about the Golden Prince. But whatever. Or he, like, already kissed the Iron Knight a little bit, and is like, I don't have any interest in these girls. But sure.
Already used up his quota of smooches.
Yeah, that's not canon to the story, but I would like it if it was. So he just wants to go out and continue on his adventures, right? So every time they're, like, throwing themselves at him, he, like, legitimately couldn't care any less. And they're like, oh, and the king's like, don't worry, we'll figure out something. Dress sluttier. And they're like, Dad! No!
That's antiquated, Dad.
Yeah, Dad, can you please fucking get with the times? So one night, János is like, hey, I think I'm gonna leave tomorrow. And the king's like, okay. And he's like, girls, you only have one night to make him marry you. Quick, go to his bedroom tonight. And they're like, go to his bedroom. And he's like, yeah, both of you, go, go, go. And so he literally makes them go to his bedroom late at night. And they try to sneak in. But when they open the door, it clangs against a metal shield. Because János put up a metal like a steel shield around his whole bedroom so no one can get in because these girls have been harassing him. And they're like, clang, clang. Ah, clang, clang. And they're like, they go to their dad and they're like, Dad! Daddy! We can't get in. And he's like, oh, damn it. Maybe I can convince him to stay like a couple extra months. And then the next morning he leaves. The king's like,
fair.
Yeah, it's a really awkward time when like this guy is trying to get him laid so hard. It's real weird. So as he's about to leave, the Golden Prince is like, hey, buddy, are you leaving? Do you have an adventure yet? And János was like, no, I was about to go find one. And he's like, I have an adventure for you. I'll walk with you. And he's like, okay. So as he's walking, he's like, listen, I'm in love with a woman in the next kingdom. And he's like, oh, really? Cool, man.
Oh,
great.
a single tear.
Happy for you. So he's like, I've only ever seen her from afar, but I have seen her in passing, and she's beautiful, and she's perfect, and she loves me too, but we've never spoken. And he's like, well, this sounds like a healthy relationship. How can I help? And he's like, okay, well, her mom is a huge asshole, and I travel to that kingdom, and every time I get there, her mom murders me, chops me up into tiny pieces, and sends my body pieces back to my parents in a box. And so the last 2 times that she's done it, my mom has pieced me together, and then I've come back to life. But like now I'm on my 3rd life, and this is my last one. If she does it again, I won't come back to life. And he's like, yeah, bet. Cool.
Classic situation that anyone would be equipped to handle.
I have told this exact story so many times. And so he's like, I need somebody to go get my princess so I can meet her and then marry her. And he's like, yeah, that's how marriage works. Okay, cool, yeah, I'll go do it. And so they go to the border of this kingdom, and János is like, hey, you set a fire here, don't come into the border because obviously you're on your last life, and I'll go get your princess. And he's like, cool. So he starts walking, and he passes an old lady who's carrying a rake over her shoulder, and he's like, old lady, how do I get to the kingdom? And she's like, take a left there. And he's like, thank you. She doesn't come back. Like, they describe this old lady in a weird amount of detail, and she's not important.
Also, why was the whole kingdom red?
I don't know. Now we're in the Golden Kingdom, but now we're in another kingdom.
And what color is it?
Actually, I think they might have said this. Anyway, so I just didn't write it down. So He keeps walking. He passes another old woman carrying another garden tool, and he's like, which way is the castle? And they're like, that way. And then he just keeps passing old ladies. Like, that happens a couple times where it's like, what direction? And they're like, over there, young man. And he keeps walking. And finally, he comes up to this huge, beautiful castle. It's made completely of porcelain, which seems like poor design.
What about an earthquake?
Okay, well, even more so, it is balanced on one giant duck leg. Baba Yaga style, but like worse. And the duck leg is like rotating because it's following the sun. So it's just kind of like spinning slowly.
Huh.
Yeah, don't know why.
Huh.
Yeah. So he walks up and he looks at it and he's like, wow, that's so interesting and beautiful. And like architecture these days has really come far. And then he takes a sword and he chops the duck leg down in the castle.
What?
Falling down and like hits the ground like a thud. And he's like, cool.
And then shatters into a billion pieces.
Okay, you would think. But it just kind of like hits the ground and stops spinning. He's like, finally. He like goes inside. And as he's walking into the castle, he hears a buzzing around his face. And then a tiny little voice in his ear says like, hey man, don't go in there. And he's like, who said that? And he's like, me. They never say who it is.
Oh my god!
It's clearly some sort of bug. And so he's like, so what's up with this then? Like, what's in there? And he's like, well, the princess that you seek is in there. And he's like, well, cool, and that's where I'm gonna go. And it's like, okay, yeah, but here's the thing. The princess hates visitors. Like, she hates them. And if you walk into that room right now, she's gonna kick your ass. He's like, what?
I was really hoping that the voice was going to be like, hey, don't go in there. And then he was going to be like, whoa, who's there? And it was going to be like, I'm the princess. And the reason that his friend had only ever seen her from afar was because he'd actually seen her up very close.
Aww.
She was tiny.
Wait, that's so cute. Please bookmark that in case that's my goblin story. Because that's the cutest thing I've ever heard. Oh my god. Anyway, nope. Instead, this little bug is just like, she's gonna body slam you to the floor and you'll die. And so
Equally good.
János doesn't even question this. He's not like, I can beat any girl. János is like, well, god damn it. Well, then how do I defeat her? I need to, like, make her see that I'm here for my friend who she likes. And the bug's like, okay, well, I guess you could just attack her first and, like, take her by surprise. And he's like, all right, I'll do that. And he's like, yeah, well, good luck, buddy.
Classic wingman shit.
Yeah. Oh, wingman. So he does that. He knocks on the princess's bedroom door, and the bug's like, okay, good luck. And he leaves. After, like, bringing him to the bedroom door. And he knocks on the door, and the princess is like, who's there? And for whom are you wishing to speak? And he's like, the princess, I'm here to speak to you. And she's like, oh, okay, well then enter. And he like takes a breath and he like squares his shoulders and then he kicks the door in and immediately attacks. And she's like, ah! And she's ready there to like pounce on him. But he ends up like grabbing her and then slamming her into a chair. And he's like, ah! And he's like holding her from behind. And she's like, you son of a bitch, I'll kill you. And she's super buff and really big. And she's like kicking, she's like, yeah, and he's like, I'm here with the golden prince. Like, you guys really like each other. I'm just here to bring you to him. And she stops, she goes, oh, I guess it's okay. Wow, that's so romantic. Like, he sent someone here for me. You know, he's died for me twice. And he's like, why are you so buff? So then he's like, she's like, okay, well, let's go. Like, that's great. I thought you were here for you. And I was like, bleh, you know. And she's like, but the problem is if we leave now, my mom's gonna kill you and possibly me. So I guess let's go fight my mom. And he's like, okay. And then they like fist bump and they run out of the castle. So as they're running out, they do indeed run into her mother, who's a evil witch, and she's filing her teeth with, quote, 24 rasps. I don't know what that means.
How do you...
She's filing them. She's like, but like with 24 things?
You would have to have like 2 between each finger and then also 2 more between 2 other fingers.
Now that I'm saying it, I don't think a rasp is an object. I think a rasp is a verb. Each tooth gets 24 rasps of the file.
Oh, like when you're brushing your hair and it's like 100 brushes?
Like strokes? Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Or she's using her hands and feet and also has 2 of her fingers to file all of her teeth all at once.
Yeah. All 24 of her teeth.
All 24 of her remaining teeth.
So, he runs up, and as he's running, the witch is like, I see you're here to get my daughter. But before she can finish the sentence, he's like, and he runs up and he grabs her by the hair and he slams her into the ground. And she breaks into like a million pieces.
Is this a fairy tale about WWE?
And then he picks up a chair and he breaks it over her head. And so, they keep running, and the princess is like, listen, she's not gonna stay dead for long, okay? We gotta go. And he's like, okay. So they keep running, and then the witch is like flying out again, like, ha-ha! I see you're taking my daughter! And he like grabs her by her hair again as she's flying over him, and he slams her into the ground. And he does this 24 times. 24 times, he fucking kills her, and she just keeps being like, ha-ha! Coming up again. And he's about to do it again, and the princess is like, dude, she can't be killed in her kingdom. You're gonna be doing this forever, and eventually you're gonna get tired. So, like, can we please get her out of this kingdom? And he's like, oh, okay. And so then he grabs her, like, by the throat. He's like, let's go. And he drags her over the border. And then as soon as she gets over the border, she's like, no! And she bursts into a million pieces, and the wind blows her away. Another real big dust motif in this story. And then the golden prince and the princess see each other, and he's like, hi, I'm Dave. And she's like, hello. And then they kiss and they get married. That's it. Then they go back to their kingdom. They have a wedding. János is in the audience like, you sons of bitches, you did it. True love is real. And then he like goes off on, in search of more adventures. And that's the end of that story.
What?
Okay, so there's some notes from Cenga Varag Zalka. This is the Arns Thompson type 519. It's specifically called The Strong Woman as Bride. And
I love it.
You do, except Cenga makes a specific note saying that they read a bunch of other fairy tales in this thing. They were like, I was searching for tales of superhuman strength, and I really wanted women who were strong. They said their problem is that most of the fairy tales, especially the Western fairy tales that you were getting, were making fun of the woman who was really strong, or they were having the woman like go into jealous rages and like killing people out of jealousy, or they were having like, it was just there was just like a really humiliating thing to be a strong woman. And so they said when they read this Transylvania one thing, they were like, holy shit, this woman is so cool. She's just like a weird wrestler. And she was waiting in that room not to be rescued or anything, but to fucking body slam somebody into dust. She's like, I'm ready to kill whoever comes in here because I don't want visitors. And then they even said like the evil witch also is really active, like it's just, they have their own stuff. And then, like I said, this tale is from a much longer story about Rózsa's adventure and János's adventures. And at the end of János's story, after going on adventures, seeking fame and fortune, he dies and is, like, revived again and again. And eventually, he meets a super hot shape-shifting fairy lady, and he gets married.
Aww.
Yeah, that's, like, this end of this entire thing.
I like it a lot.
Yeah. Isn't that fun?
I like it so much. That's really good.
This book is amazing. Just everybody, please support this. This really freaking cool author.
Yeah, Tales of Superhuman Powers, 55 Traditional Stories from Around the World by Cenga Varag Zalka.
Cool.
Yeah.
And take a little break?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll be back.
All right, we're back. I got another big glass of wine, and we're ready to go.
I got some cookies.
You hear a crunching sound, it's Janey eating cookies.
I'm gonna try really hard to dissolve them in my tea. Max, I'm really excited to see that book out again.
Yes, so this story that I am about to tell you is also from Monstrous Tales, Stories of Strange Creatures and Fearsome Beasts from Around the World. This is collected and illustrated by Xia Hong. It is, what was the story that I did from this before? Was it The Snake Prince? No, that was from Katarina the Wise.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I don't think it was The Snake Prince, was it?
I don't see any other ones.
You've definitely done something from this.
Oh, The Princess and the Ghouls.
Oh, The Princess and the Ghouls! Talk about buff women!
Mr. and Mrs. Ghoul!
Oh my god, what a fucking classic.
Yeah, so this is from the same book as our episode on Mr. and Mrs. Ghoul. The story
it's called The Buff Lesbian Kingdom of Your Dreams. That was the name of the episode.
Oh, I think that was the name of the fairy tale.
No, the
God, I
name of
wish.
the episode was The Buff Lesbian Kingdom of Your Dreams, and I don't remember the other story that was told because that was the...
That was so good.
Oh, that was the best.
Oh, amazing.
Go ahead.
Okay. So this is, as we said before, this is a collection of stories. It's beautifully illustrated. If you haven't had a chance to pick it up, do, because it's also, again, we talked about, it's one of the, like, truly global fairy tale compilations, which is really cool. This story is from Turkey, and it's called The Bird of Sorrow. I'll show you the illustration real quick.
Make really me cry again.
No. Nope.
Oh, beautiful. See, Hong, I mean, is incomparable.
Yeah.
These are gorgeous illustrations.
Just really, really beautiful. Okay, so this story comes from Turkey. Once upon a time, there was a princess. In this context in Turkey, it means that she's the daughter of a padisha, which is the same as like a sultan. They're used interchangeably.
Okay.
But she's a princess. When she was very young, she used to follow her governess around everywhere. Governess being like...
Nanny?
Nanny, yeah. And one day, she sees her governess looking very solemn and thoughtful. And she goes up to her governess and she says, "What are you thinking?" And the governess says, "I have sorrow." And the princess says, "What is sorrow? Let me also have it."
Oh.
And the governess says, "It is well." And she produces a large bird cage, and in it is a bird of sorrow. And she gives it to the princess.
That's not a good gift.
It's a terrible gift.
Get her popcorn.
Just like a little race car. Just like a little Hot Wheels.
Here's a coloring book. Like. I'm going through it right now. Go color while the governess cries in the corner. We've all been there.
We've all been babysitters for $15 an hour.
That's a
for
lot.
4 hours.
That's a fucking lot of money.
Seriously?
When I first
I did have CPR certification and like...
Okay, can I tell you?
Mm-hmm.
This is a big sidebar before her story even really starts. You all were like, Bird of Sorrow, and I'm like, let me tell you about what it was like to be a babysitter in 2004, Missouri.
Mm.
All right, so I was over at my neighbor, Miss Marcy's house. I told you the story before. But also, you are here, so... So I was over at my neighbor, Miss Marcy's house. She was fucking terrible. And I was babysitting her terrible children. And I was getting paid, like, maybe $6 an hour. Like, that might have been it. They were gone all night. I was there for, like, maybe 4 hours. And I was going to get, not even $6. I think I was about to get $20 for that whole night. And so, which is how it was. Also, like, 2004, I would have been, like, 13. Yeah. Very young. Just over all night with her kids. So she comes home and she goes, "Janey!" That's what she sounded like. And her laugh was like, "Ah!" Ugh, Miss Marcy. So she comes up and she goes, "Janey, I don't have my wallet. How much did I owe you?" And I was like, $20? Also, your kids were horrible. So, like...
In case you were wondering,
they were fucking awful. And she was like, "Well, I don't have my wallet on me, but you like to read, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I like to read." It was not 13. It was before this. I was only 10. This is important for the story. Because then she goes, "I have something else for you. You're going to love this." And then she pulls a box out from under her bed. She brings me into her bedroom. She pulls a box out from under her bed, opens it up, and is filled with Nora Roberts romance novels.
I've heard this story before, but the way that you told it this time, I was like, "Oh god, it's butt plugs."
Take this, you're gonna love it. So, just a box of butt plugs. That would be a crime, I think.
Pretty sure.
So then she's like, "You're gonna love these books. You're a reader." And then she hands me all of these Nora Roberts books, and I was like, "Cool, I've never heard of these before." And she goes, "Yeah, how old are you?" And I was like, 10. And she goes, "Close your eyes during the sex scenes." And then she ushers me out.
When you're reading? How will you know when it's over?
That's an insane thing. And so she didn't pay me. I came home with all of these smut books. My mom looks at me and is like, "It's a school night, so go to sleep." And I was like, "Okay, you're not even going to ask questions?" All right. And so then I was such a fucking good kid. And also I was too young to be given these books that I would read a page and be like, "Oh no, it's getting really dirty." And then I would just whoop, flip, flip, flip through the sex scenes until I got to the end of the chapter or the end of the thing. And I would see that it had been like winding down. And she'd like, "And then she fell into a deep," like it'd be like, "And they came gloriously together and then they fell asleep." And I was like, "Oh, okay, it's over." Don't know what came gloriously means, but it doesn't sound good.
Came where? To the store?
Who's coming over here? It's It's late at night. They both just came in from the rain. They don't want visitors. That being said, that started me on my Nora Roberts obsession that has lasted till this day.
Thanks,
anyway,
lady.
Go ahead. No, this bitch gave a bird of sorrow.
Yes. So this governess gave a bird of sorrow to her young charge, which, I mean, the princess was a kid, and so she was like, oh, this is fun. And she would, like, hang out with the bird all the time and, like, talk to it and everything. And
the bird's a huge bummer.
Yeah. And she would carry this bird with her everywhere and just, like, hang out and play with the bird.
Yeah.
A few weeks after receiving the bird, the princess and her, a group of her slaves followed her to the zoo. Mm-hmm. So she went to the zoo and she brought her bird with her. And she was looking at all the different animals and everything like that. And her bird of sorrow was like, hey, what's up? Can you, quick question, can you just, like, let me out for a minute so I can go talk to the other birds? And then I'll be right back. I promise. And the princess was like, oh, yeah, totally. Like, you should go see your bird friends. And so she opened the door of the bird cage and let the bird of sorrow out to go play with all the other birds at the zoo. Aww. So the bird of sorrow flew away. And she looked at the rest of the zoo and, like, weirdly spent a long time in the lizard house and like went and she got some like really crappy popcorn at like a little stand.
It's the only thing she really wanted.
Yeah, honestly, they could have just like put some Pop Secret in the microwave and she would have been fine.
Yeah. So they gave her this bummer bird.
Yeah, instead of going to the zoo.
To bring her down. Yeah.
And then she like went to the park and she was just kind of hanging out for a while. And then the bird of sorrow came back.
Oh shit.
And the bird of sorrow sunk its talons into her shoulders.
Oh, no.
And picked her up and carried her off to the top of a mountain.
I was imagining a small bird. I'm having to readjust.
No, same. I had the same thing happen. I was picturing like a little songbird, like a parakeet.
This isn't a canary?
No, it's like a turkey vulture.
Oh, fuck! Okay, a turkey vulture would be the bird of sorrow.
So, this bird picks up the princess and carries her to the top of a mountain, very, very far away, very, very high up. And the bird says, behold, this is sorrow. I will go and prepare more of it for you.
Oh.
And then it flies away, leaving her alone on top of a mountain.
Oh my god.
Welcome to sorrow, asshole.
You feel bad, just wait.
So the princess is stuck on top of this mountain, and she kind of hangs out for a little while, and she's like, oh, my bird's gonna come back, and then she realizes that the bird isn't coming back, and so she starts wandering around, and she's already getting hungry and thirsty, because she's, like, very well taken care of at home, and so she starts getting hungry and thirsty, and she starts walking around the mountain, and eventually she crosses paths with a herdsman, and she trades her clothes with his clothes, so that she's dressed as a man, because she's like, it's safer if I'm dressed as a man.
And there's just a herdsman out there dressed like a little girl.
Like a little princess. I love him.
He's going through something. And he deserves only the best on his journey.
I love him. So she is dressed in herdsman's clothes now, and she's wandering around. It starts to get dark, and so as it gets dark, she sees lights in the distance, and she follows them, and she comes to a village. The first place she goes in the village is a coffee house. And she walks into the coffee house, and she finds the proprietor of the coffee house, and she begs him, pretending to be a man, begs him for a job.
How old is she? She's a little girl. She didn't know what sorrow
Unclear.
She's
unclear.
How old is the man she's pretending to be?
I don't know. She's also a princess, so, like, she's pretty, like, well taken care of. Like, she doesn't have a lot of
skills,
opportunities for sorrow in her life, or skills.
Okay, that's true.
So we don't know how old she is. I'm gonna say she's 14.
Okay, but going to the zoo is also a little girl activity.
I know. So she goes to this coffee house and she begs for a job because she's like, I have to eat eventually. Yeah. And this is what people do. So she goes to, when you work at a coffee shop because you have to eat.
Yeah, I know.
Yup. And so the coffee shop owner, like, gladly welcomes her in because he really needs some help.
Yeah.
It's sort of, like, late winter, early spring, and so people are, like, going in, they're having their, like, peppermint mocha lattes and everything like that. And he's like, oh my god. And our espresso machine is on the fritz. Ugh. So she comes in, and at the end of the night, after everyone's left, he tells her how to close up, and then he leaves her to keep an eye on the coffee shop overnight. And he was like, I'll be back in the morning.
Max, are you telling me the story of the first Starbucks?
Yes.
Great.
It's night at the museum, but in a Starbucks.
All of the coffee beans come to life and beat the shit out of her. Okay, so she's left over now. I'm sorry. I gotta
Oh,
stop
you're
interrupting.
fine. So she sort of cleans everything up, and she makes herself a little bed behind the coffee bar.
Aww.
And she starts to go to sleep, and then at midnight she hears a banging noise, and the bird of sorrow flies in through the window and knocks over all of the cups, all the saucers.
Oh my god, this bird!
All of the nargils, which is the Turkish version of like a hookah.
Yeah.
So like it's a tobacco smoking water pipe.
Jesus.
Knocks them all over, breaks everything in this coffee shop, and goes, "Behold!"
Just me doing my job.
This is sorrow.
Remember me?
I will prepare more of it for you.
No.
The reason why I decided to tell this story is because in a few days it's going to be Goblin Week.
Yes.
And the Bird of Sorrow is a goblin. If you don't know about Goblin Week, webcomics artist and just general artist extraordinaire Evan Dom does Goblin Week every year. You just draw goblins for a week, and it's great.
And Max and I are both doing it.
We're both doing it, so check out our Instagram, I guess.
We'll post our goblins on the Instagram.
Yeah, we'll post our goblins on the Instagram. So that's the Bird of Sorrow is a goblin. He acts like a horrible little beastie, and I love him. So he just comes in, he's like, "Behold!" and like breaks everything. And the princess is kind of like, and then the bird flies away, and she's like paralyzed with fear, and she's like, "Oh my god, I just got this job, and I don't have health insurance." And oh my god, so she like tries to pick up as best she can, but like she doesn't have any high school friends to do a cleanup montage after the party with. So she kind of like, it's still a mess when the guy gets there, and he comes in and he's like, "What the hell did you do to my Starbucks?" And she's like, I don't know, man.
Bird came in.
She doesn't explain it. She's just like, I don't know, man. And he's like, "Get out. You're fired, obviously."
No.
So he like kicks her out, and she goes off and she walks. And she walks all day, and as it starts to get towards night again, she comes to another village. And at that village, the first place she comes across is a tailor's shop.
Mm-hmm.
And the tailor is in his busy season as well, because he is preparing for Bayram, which is, in Turkish, literally means like any holiday, but it usually is a holiday related to like Passover, Easter, Eid, like all that.
Yeah.
So he's preparing, and he really needs an extra hand. And she comes in the guise of a young man, and she's like, "Hey, I need a job. Like, can I come work for you here at the tailor shop?" And the tailor is like, "Yeah, absolutely. I need an extra hand." So he brings her in. He like teaches her how to do everything. She's there for a couple of days, and then he's like, "You've got this. I'm going to leave you alone here overnight because I have to go out of town to get some cloths from the next village."
This is on these men. This is their fault. You can't leave a child in charge of this.
It's an adult herdsman.
Oh yeah,
She's wearing a fake beard.
And there's a man out there who's dressed like a little girl. Clean shaven.
And so the tailor leaves her overnight in charge of the tailor shop. And at midnight, she hears a loud bang and a bird busts through the window. The Bird of Sorrow busts in, shreds all the clothes with its talons, and goes, "Behold, this is sorrow! I will prepare more of it for you!" And then flies out again.
Please stop preparing. Take a break.
I'm gonna go get some more sorrow for you. I'll be right back.
What did I do?
And then in the morning, the tailor comes back and he sees like just ribbons have been made of his tailor shop. Jesus. And he's like, "What happened?" And the princess is like, "Just kick me out." And he's like, "Get out, you're fired." And so he kicks her out, and she goes on her way. She walks for a whole day. Night starts to fall again, and she comes across another village. The first place she comes to in that village is a fringe maker, which is like just tassels on like decorative clothing and like home goods and stuff like that. So she comes to the like a fringe maker's shop, and she goes in and she's like, "Can I have the job?" And the fringe maker is like, "Yeah, absolutely." Teaches her fringe making.
Do you have any references? Can I check
this
your references? This
is the origin story of the resume.
This is the reason why you have to write that cover letter.
It's her
Thank
fault.
you, Bird of Sorrow.
So the tassel maker is like, "Cool, here's how to do this thing. I'm going to leave you alone." And at midnight, the princess is in the tassel maker's store, and the bird busts in through the window. Honestly, I think this bird might have a concussion at this point.
I mean...
From busting through so many windows.
Can I say this real quick? Who the fuck cares? This bird's a bummer.
True. The bird of sorrow busts in, and it says shreds all of the fringe.
Okay, so it helps.
It just seems like it helps.
Thanks, bird. She's getting really snarky. Thank you. I wanted that.
And that's what we wanted, actually. That's how you make a fringe.
Actually, you're fucking
Do you
hired.
want a job?
Here it is, $10 an hour, bird.
Just kidding, it's unpaid, and it's an internship. You're an intern, bird.
You're an intern, bird. Hilarious.
And so then the tassel maker comes back and is like, something's different.
Hey,
and then fires her.
Are these more shredded than before?
You did a great job, and I'm worried of you surpassing my talents. You need to get out. No, he's like, hey, you shredded all of my shit. Get out of my house.
Sure.
And so she goes off again.
Imagine how great she would be, though, if she was at a cheese shop.
Toss out that mandolin, baby. Wow. We got a natural talent on our hands.
And then, like, the sorrow is that the bird never comes back. And she's like, they tossed out my tools. How am I to do this now?
World-renowned shredder.
She's working in a rock band.
Yeah. She's
the
also
bird comes in and fucking shreds.
Also, it's literally shredding cheese on the strings of the guitar. I would pay so much.
Mm-hmm.
So, at this point, the princess is like, okay, this bird is going to keep coming back and fucking up my life no matter how much I try and set myself right. Mm-hmm. So, she decides to stop ruining local businesses and she flees into the mountains. She sets herself up in this little mountain pass. She hides up in a tree. For the most part, like, she comes down to get, like, pick whatever berries and stuff that she can find, but for the most part, she just hides up in a tree because she's hungry, and she's thirsty, and she's terrified of all the animals that live in this little forest in the mountain pass, so she just kind of hangs out in a tree and, like, waits for death.
Jesus.
So, she's up in this tree. Meanwhile, a handsome prince from a local kingdom is riding through the forest.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees what he thinks is a bird up in a tree. And he shoots an arrow at it.
Oh.
And he misses, and he hits the branch under the bird. And then he goes to get the arrow, and he realizes that it wasn't a bird, it was a girl. Actually, a man.
Yeah,
a herdsman.
a very beautiful human.
Yeah. Which also, she, like, almost got shot, and she was just like...
Ooh. I
didn't say anything. She wasn't like, hey, don't shoot me.
Well, she's been waiting for death. She's probably like, that bird of sorrow is back, and now he's shooting.
That bird of sorrow has a gun. Behold, this is sorrow.
This is sorrow brings out a Glock.
And it has sorrow scrawled on the side of it.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
is this a sequel to, the brothers...
Grimm.
No! The one about the Irish brothers. And
Boondock Saints.
Boondock Saints.
Oh!
Is this a sequel to Boondock Saints? And yes, it is.
You mean Hot as Fuck?
Yeah. What?
Uh-huh. That movie's hot as fuck.
It is.
It doesn't hold up the way that I thought it would.
I thought you said that bird is hot as fuck. I was like, JD, oh.
That bird has the head of Norman Reedus. And the body of a compliment bird.
In this context.
It's a compliment in every context. How dare you?
I dare. So.
I hope the bird of sorrow gets you with his Glock. Don't worry, Norman Reedus. I'm here for you, boo.
So, the prince goes and pulls his arrow out of the tree, and he realizes that it's not a bird, it's actually a herdsman in the tree. He's like, hey man, what's up? And the princess is like, oh, what's up, bro?
Hey!
You chillin'? You want to chill in this tree with me? And he's like, no.
You want to join my brotherhood? And he holds up his bleeding finger.
From the arrow.
Yeah, it caught his one finger.
And so the prince is like, no, I don't want to hang out in this tree with you. Do you want to come back to my castle, though? Aww. And the herdsman / princess is like, yeah, man, that'd be totally cool.
I mean, I guess.
You got brewskis there?
I love 3 things. Boobs, brews, and hanging with the boys.
Frankly, I love those 3 things.
Those are pretty good things.
Those are good things. I, too, love
boobs, brews, hanging with the boys.
Yeah. I also love booze in both contexts and bruise. Bruise, like in the other way. Like bruisers.
Oh.
This is going to be a really shit episode to edit. I had too much wine.
Yeah, this is
a mistake.
Late night. It's now 1 a.m. Go ahead.
Hell yeah, podcast at night. So she goes back to the prince's castle. And he's like, hey man, get yourself cleaned up and we'll have some Millie lights. And the herdsman goes in and takes a little bath and puts on a robe and comes out, and it's a beautiful woman. Oh my god.
And he's like, hey, what happened to the herdsman? Get out of here, you!
No broads allowed!
You know, this is for the boys!
So this beautiful princess comes out.
And then the Iron Knight comes out and is like, you ruined my tailor shop!
Oh god.
Go ahead.
Crossover.
Ooh, these stories take place at the same time.
Fanfiction.net. We know you're listening.
I thought it was multiple. It's just one guy.
No. Mr.net.
I thought you gotta hear the story. It's fucking wild.
Just the scene from Back to the Future. And he's like, you looking for a new sound, right? Well, listen to this. And it's like, the Iron Knight was actually the tailor. And all his shit got shredded. And then the prince was mad because he's actually the son of the sun.
Face.
It's Boondock Saints. But with instead of the son of God, it's the son of the sun. No. Anyways.
God is the sun. Oh, and that's the Holy Trinity. Ooh. I did the sign of the cross and gave it a little ditty.
And I did the auto-tune background singer noise. We're gonna have to turn this down drunk. So much.
I know. I'm not drunk. Just so you know.
I'm too silly.
I am halfway through this one, truly.
I'm in silly goose mode.
Oh, that's silly goose. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So the princess comes out. And the prince is like, oh my god, you're beautiful. And she's like, oh, I forgot to tell you I'm a princess, actually. I'm a lady and not a herdsman. And he's like, oh, that's cool too, actually. And then he goes
the beating of wings in the distance. And you're like, oh, we gotta go.
I'll come back to that.
Oh, no.
So the prince goes to his father, the sultan, and he's like, hey, I would like to marry this princess that I found in the woods. And the sultan is like, absolutely not. And he's like, wait until you meet her. And so the prince brings the princess to the sultan, and she's like, hey, what's up? And the sultan is like, okay, you're cool.
Nice pool, bro.
Yeah. And he sees her and just like immediately falls in love. He's like, this is the coolest person ever, and I want my son to marry her so bad. So they're like married immediately. Shortly thereafter, 9 months-ish, they have a daughter, and she is the most beautiful thing anyone has ever laid eyes on. She is the gem of the kingdom. Everyone loves her. She's like the sweetest, cutest little baby that has ever been. And then one night, at midnight,
Norman Reedus, you son of a bitch,
the bird of sorrow, with a modicum of sneakiness, comes in through the baby's window, steals the baby away. Then the bird goes into the prince and princess's window and smears blood all over the lips of the princess, and then, like, pokes her and, like, whispers in her ear, like, behold! This is sorrow!
Oh my god!
I will prepare more of it for you! And then, like, tucks her in and, like, flies away.
Okay, I'm imagining when this bird is, like, doing weirdly human things, I'm imagining Foghorn Leghorn.
God.
I say, this is sorrow.
Well, I said, behold. I was, like, at this point in the story, I was thinking about what you just said, where she, like, suddenly hears the beating of wings. I'm like, at this point, she has to have some form of, like, PTSD, where she goes to sleep, and then she, like, hears beating wings and wakes up in a cold sweat.
Yeah.
Because, like, how could you not? It's been...
But apparently, like, she doesn't even wake up if a bird is touching her.
Yeah. So...
I feel like the smell alone would wake you up from a deep sleep.
Of a bird?
Yeah. Birds are smelly.
That's fair.
Especially Foghorn Leghorn.
Especially Foghorn Leghorn. The leghorn is his butt, and he's named that because of how much he farts.
Ew, Leghorn! What?
It's his butt. It's his butt when he farts. Foghorn butthorn.
No.
Yeah.
We're cutting it.
Canon.
This is a classy podcast for classy late night gals. We're never gonna get tenure this way.
The prince and princess wake up in the morning, and the prince doesn't hear the baby crying, and so he goes into the nursery, and he sees that his daughter is gone, and he goes into the bedroom, and the princess is still asleep. I lied earlier. She's still asleep, and he sees that there's blood all over her mouth, and he, like, wakes her up, and, like, helps her wipe it off. He's like, oh, you got something on your face, and, like, wipes it off.
Yeah.
But then he goes to his father, the sultan, and he's like, hey, so our daughter is gone, and I'm panicking. Also, potentially useful and relevant information. My wife had blood all over her mouth when I woke up this morning.
Oh, shit.
And the sultan is like, okay, look, you found this lady in the woods.
Okay, fair.
Dressed as a man. You brought her home.
Maybe this wasn't an adorable meet cute.
You brought her home and married her. And now you had a daughter and the baby is gone and your wife's mouth is covered in blood. I'm just saying, I think you brought home a cannibal.
No further questions, Your Honor. That's a good fucking point.
Yeah, and the prince is like, okay, she's my wife. We've been together for, like, somewhere upwards of 9 months now. And she wouldn't do that. So, like, put the thought out of your head, she would never do that.
Okay, stand by your lady.
And the sultan is like, okay, man, whatever you say. And so, the prince and princess, like, they look everywhere for their daughter, but she's nowhere to be found. And shortly thereafter, they find out that the princess is pregnant again. So she goes through the whole pregnancy. She has the baby. She has another daughter. Just as beautiful as the previous daughter. Just perfect. Just a perfect baby.
Yeah.
And when the baby is a few months old, the bird comes again at midnight, breaks in through the window, steals the baby, smears blood all over the mouth of the princess again. And then, you know, it's like, behold, you know. And then the prince wakes up in the morning, doesn't hear the baby crying, goes to the nursery, finds that there's no baby. Why are they
still putting the baby in the nursery? That baby would be in the bedroom with me.
Yeah. The baby is gone, and he goes to his dad, and he was like, hey, my wife had blood on her mouth again, and our daughter is gone again. And the sultan is like, well, that's it. She's sentenced to death. And, like, sentences her to death. And the prince is like, no, it's my wife. She would never do this. And so the sultan is like, okay, she's pardoned. But, like, everyone keep an eye out because I think she might be a cannibal.
Who eats babies. This is the first story you've told where there's a man who sticks up for his wife and is very active.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm liking this. The new Max, who doesn't hate women.
I don't hate women. I love women. Just for the record. Don't take that out of context. So the princess is pardoned.
Yeah.
And she finds out shortly thereafter that she's pregnant again. And after 9 months, she has another baby. And this one's a son. And the prince loves him from moment one. He sees this perfect little, like, handsome little boy, and he's like, this is going to be my heir. I love this little boy so much. And he decides, he's like, okay, if this baby goes missing, my wife is going to be killed, and I will be left with nothing. And so he stays up every night for a month after the baby is born. He stays up day and night in the baby's nursery, making sure that nothing comes and gets the baby. But eventually, he can't stay awake any longer, and he falls asleep.
No!
And as soon as he does, the bird busts in through the window, steals the baby, smears blood all over the princess's mouth, and is like, behold! And flies away again. So the prince wakes up in his, like, rocking chair that I assume is next to the nursery bed, sees that the baby is gone, and he immediately goes into his wife's room, and he sees that there's blood smeared all over her mouth, and she wakes up, and he's like, the baby is gone, and she immediately starts sobbing, and he just sees this image of his wife with, like, tears running through blood on her face, and, like, snot bubbles and everything, and he's like, this isn't, she might have done it.
Yeah. I mean, at this point.
Yeah, and so, again, the sultan is like, this woman is a murderer, she keeps eating all of these babies.
Yeah.
She's sentenced to death, and the prince is like, yeah.
Hate to say it, but it sure is sounding like it.
Especially since she wasn't, like, alternating shifts with him or anything. It doesn't seem like she really wants.
Yeah, like, what's she doing?
Like, not to blame women, but, like...
But also, where are the
isn't
guards?
she worried?
Don't they have, like, guards, nannies? Like, they're a kingdom.
You would think.
Put people up there. Maybe put some bells on the windows.
Yeah, something.
Or bells on her, if you're really that nervous.
Sleep with the bells on. And so she's sentenced to death, and she's carried away to be executed, but the executioner takes her hood off before he kills her, and he sees her face, and he's like, this woman is beautiful, and she's, like, sobbing, because she's just lost another baby.
Yeah.
She's also very upset. She's sobbing, and he's like, there's no way that she did it. So he says, like, I can't kill you.
This is why you don't take the hood off. Like, this is rookie.
I've ad-libbed that part. I don't know if that part was in it, but the executioner was like, yeah, you're too beautiful. You're too sweet. I don't believe it. You have to leave. Like, I'm going to tell everyone that you're dead, and you run away and never come back to the city again.
Beautiful people can't commit crimes. That's a fact.
We all know this.
That's science.
Yeah. If you're hot, you're innocent.
Yeah.
Except when proven guilty, wink.
Yeah, but, like...
devil face emoji. Not so innocent.
Britney Spears.
Yeah, there you go. So she runs off into the forest, and she goes back to that same mountain pass where the prince found her before, and she finds her little tree nook and goes back into her tree, and she's like, just let me die. And then in the middle of the night, she hears the flapping of wings.
Oh, God.
And the bird of sorrow descends from the sky and picks her up and carries her away to a palace very, very far away. And he sort of shakes his feathers. And as he's shaking, he turns into a young man.
Oh, God.
I know. He turns into a young man, and he escorts her into the palace. She enters the palace, and she sees there are all these servants, and it's, like, a beautifully, like, decorated palace with all, like, the finest silks and rugs and everything. And she sees 3 beautiful little children.
No!
And the bird of sorrow says, I put you through hell.
Yeah.
I put you through all of these trials and travails, and at no point did you forsake me.
She's like, that was an option?
You did not betray me, and as such, I am your slave.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Which, I didn't know that it was an option.
She didn't know it was an option.
Otherwise, nobody knew it was an option.
She would have been forsaking him left and right. Like, goddamn, that bird.
Yeah, fuck that bird.
She was like, no one would believe me if I told them there's a big old bird coming in and ruining my life.
A bird that hates me. Yeah, so he turns into a beautiful young man, and he's like, hey, I'm your slave forever. I thought this story was going in one direction. I thought he was going to be like, and I was in love with you the whole time.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. He's a beautiful young man.
It's not that. Okay. So
good, because she's already married.
Yeah. But, well, she's also dead, quote unquote, from being executed. So, the bird of sorrow says, I am your slave forever. Meanwhile, back in the kingdom, the prince is desolate.
Going through it.
He's having the worst time, and he has struck up the company of an opium smoker.
Hanging out with drug addicts, Prince? You're better than this.
So, initially I thought he was hanging out with someone who smoked opium.
Okay.
And then I thought he was hanging out with a servant who, like, helped him to smoke the opium. You know, the prince was smoking the opium, and the servant was there to, like, refill the, like, charcoals and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah.
And then I think what I found out is that an opium smoker is actually a job.
Like an oracle?
Kind of.
Okay.
It's a storyteller. So you basically have someone who hangs out with you who smokes opium and then tells you stories.
I want that job.
Right? So he started hanging out with this opium smoker. He would just, like, tell him stories. I assume the prince was also smoking opium.
Like, tell me some happy stories about babies that stay alive, thank you.
Yeah. This man's life is horrible.
Yeah, it's not great. And he stuck up for his wife. He was a king.
Yeah. And eventually they run out of opium. So he sends the opium smoker into the market for more opium. And the opium smoker goes into the market. And on his way, he comes across this massive, beautiful palace, which seems to have been just dropped in the middle of the city. He hasn't seen it being built or anything like that. It's never been there before.
Yeah.
And he's like, what is this place? And he's sort of like trying to like casually peek in the windows and figure out what the deal is.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the princess in her new palace with the Bird of Sorrow is looking at the window, and she sees her husband's opium smoker trying to peek in the windows. And the Bird of Sorrow, who is now a man, the Man of Sorrow.
Sure. This bummer of a dude.
Is like, hey, do you want to play a trick on the prince's storyteller?
No.
And then he takes a magic rose that he produces out of thin air, and he throws it out the window at the opium smoker's feet. And so the opium smoker leans over his long gray beard, and he picks up this rose, and he smells it, and it's the most beautiful, intoxicating smell he's ever encountered. And he looks up at the palace, and he thinks, if this rose is so beautiful, how must it be with yourself? Looking at the princess, I think. And so he goes into the palace.
Okay.
Meanwhile...
Okay.
The prince is like, where's my opium? And so he sends his steward after the opium smoker to figure out what the holdup is.
Yeah.
The steward goes into town, and he also sees this palace that's just dropped in the middle of everywhere. He's like, what the fuck is up with this palace? So he knocks on the door, and he says, hello, I'm the steward of the prince. I would like to make the acquaintance of whoever lives in this palace. And the doorman, who is the Man of Sorrow in disguise.
Yeah.
In describes.
Oh, he's a scribe. Like, wait, let me just quickly write down your name. What did you say it was steward?
And would you describe your eyes as more like warm honey, or like kind of like an amber under light?
And then he winks, and the guy's like, oh my god, I feel seen. Pranked.
Got him.
Got him. Made you think that I think your eyes are beautiful.
You fucking idiot.
You dummy. You golden-eyed piece of shit.
You stupid idiot with eyes like warm wheat in the summertime.
Like I could just fall into those amber pools as if I'm a bird.
Yeah. So the doorman, who is the Bird of Sorrow, who is a man in disguise as a doorman,
sure,
invites him in. Funny you should say that. He invites him in, and he says, welcome. Before you meet the lady of the house, could you please take off your robe and your fez?
Okay.
And so the steward is like, yes, absolutely. So he takes off his robe, his outer robe. And he tries to take off his fez, but the fez won't come off. It's like stuck to his head. And the doorman is like, what? What is this? This dishonor. You would insult the lady of the house by wearing your fez into her home. And he kicks the steward out. He's like, get out and don't come back. Shortly thereafter, through means that are not explained, the opium smoker is kicked out. It is not explained why or what happened once he went into the palace, but he's kicked out around the same time as the steward.
Okay, but he's been there for a while. It seems a little bit like he was like, this beautiful rose. He looked at and was like, and a beautiful lady. And then he disappeared for a while? Like, was he in there hooking up? It
does seem like that. It certainly does. So, they start walking back to the prince's house together, and they sort of talk about their experience. Meanwhile, the prince is like, where are my opium smoker and steward? And he sends his treasurer off to find...
Go yourself!
He sends his treasurer off to find the steward and the opium smoker. And the treasurer meets them on the road as they're coming back towards the house. He's like, what took so long? Like, this was a simple task, and you guys took so long that he had to send me. And the opium smoker says, listen, you're going to come across the palace. And if a rose be thrown from that palace, take care not to smell it, or the consequences be on your own head.
Okay.
Which is a little bit of a clue to what happened, but I don't know.
Like he was in there and beaten terribly for smelling a rose?
Did he get roofied?
Can you roofie an opium? You think he would be immune to...
If it's not the same thing. I don't know. Anyways.
Okay.
And the steward says, oh, and when you enter that palace, be sure to leave your fez at the door.
Okay, good.
And so the treasurer is like, what the fuck does that mean? And they're like, trust us. And so he keeps going down the road. He comes across this palace and he's like, I've heard a lot about this palace. I feel like I have to go in.
Yeah.
Fuck this guy's opium. And so he goes into the palace and he says, hello, I just met my friends on the road. They said that they were very kindly received here. I am the treasurer of the prince and I would love to make the acquaintance of the lady of the house. Mm-hmm. And they said, yes, absolutely, please come in. Your clothes look a little bit dirty though. Do you mind donning a dressing gown? Mm-hmm. And he says, oh yeah, absolutely. And so he goes to take off all of his clothes and put on this dressing gown. Mm-hmm. But
oh no,
as he's trying to undress, he's already taken off his fez at the door. Mm-hmm. And he takes off his shirt and he goes to take off his pants. Like, he's the really loose, they're called shalwar, which is like just the really loose pants that are like tight at the waist and the ankles. Yeah. And he finds that they won't come off.
Okay.
And he's like, oh my god. And the doorman / bird comes to check on him and he's like, are you ready? Oh, I'm sorry. You're still wearing your pants. Are you trying to insult the lady of the house? Because she asked you to put on a dressing gown and you're still wearing your pants. You know what? Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of this house.
This is how we receive guests at our house, too.
So the treasurer is kicked out of the house. Mm-hmm. And as soon as his feet touch the sidewalk, his pants fly off.
You goddamn bird.
Yeah, and so he runs the rest of the way home with like a barrel covering his junk, I assume. Like wearing a barrel as a skirt. You know.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah. So he runs off and he happens to meet up with the other two because he's running away from, his public nudity arresting officers.
Yeah.
And so the three of the opium smoker and the treasurer and the steward are all walking back towards the prince's house. Meanwhile, the prince was like, where is everyone who works for me? And so he's coming into town to see for himself what's up. Mm-hmm. And he meets the three of them on the road. And they say, like, the opium smoker is like, listen, if a rose comes from that house, don't smell it or the consequences will be on your own head. Mm-hmm. And the steward is like, if you go into that palace, take off your fez at the door. Trust me. Mm-hmm. And the third guy is like, look, if you get to that palace, just take your pants off. Just don't wait for someone to ask. Just take them off before you even go in.
What's the end game here?
And the prince is like, huh. Okay. And so he goes into the city and he goes up to the palace and he ignores all of their advice. Yeah. And he just like knocks on the door and he's welcomed at the door by the doorman. And the doorman leads him up to the lady of the house with no tricks.
Yeah, because he's the prince. For me, the treasurer was told that his clothes were dirty and so he needed to take them out. The prince would probably like, if they tell me I have dirty clothes, off with their heads. Like, how dare they?
So the prince is immediately led into the main room of the house where he sees a beautiful woman and then 3 children.
His babies.
But he doesn't recognize them.
Oh god, men.
So I'm just gonna actually read the rest of the stuff that happens because I feel like I don't have the cultural context to understand this, or it's just a weird riddle.
Yeah.
Here, a lady of remarkable beauty,
hey.
surrounded by 3 lovely children, awaited him. The lady gave to her eldest child a stool, to the second a towel, and to the youngest a tray. Into the tray she put a bowl, and into the bowl a pear, and beside it a spoon.
Okay.
You got this in your mind?
Yeah.
The eldest set the stool on the floor. Mm-hmm. The second offered the towel to the prince, while the youngest sat himself down in the bowl.
In the bowl with the pear?
Yes.
Okay. He's like, take a bite.
The prince then inquired of the children, how long has it been the custom to eat pears with a spoon? Aww. Since human beings have eaten human flesh, they answered in chorus.
And then he ran from these demon children. These kids are haunted.
Can you imagine a child saying, since human beings have eaten human flesh to you? Like,
I can imagine one child saying that.
3 children in unison, and one of them is sitting in a bowl with a spoon and a pear.
It's Greg from Over the Garden Wall.
The chord of memory was struck. The past flashed before the mind's eye of the prince. Here, the magician, who is the Bird of Sorrow, who's also a guy, who's also the doorman, appeared and cried, "O prince, behold thy sultana, the princess.
Yeah.
Behold also thy children." Whereat all mother, father, and children fell on each other's necks, weeping for joy. The magician continued, "My Shazda, I am your slave.
Yeah.
However, if you deign to give me my liberty, I will hasten to my own parents." And they let him go, and he goes back to his parents, and then the prince and the princess live happily ever after.
Why would you want him? At this point, it'd be like, I am your slave. And it's like, cool, you're under arrest. The prince missed his children's whole childhood.
I don't know how long the span of this story is.
But they're talking.
Yeah. So, like, this is just a rude bird who made you think that your kids were dead and your wife was a cannibal. I wouldn't be like, yes, go be with your family and here's a Christmas bonus. I would be like, hey, man, what the fuck? And then I would kill him.
Yes. Yeah, he would straight up die for his crimes against the country.
And, like, just basic human decency.
Yeah.
He ruined so many small businesses.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's done so much damage. Also, this guy isn't like a classic, like, haha, hee, just a trickster. He's like ruining lives.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
He's like the kind of person who pranks you by, like, putting you on the sex offender registry. Pranked!
Pranked!
That's Winston from New Girl.
Prank Sinatra.
Prank Sinatra, baby.
Woo!
Yeah, no, that bird goes to jail. I would eat that. I would cook that bird with nice mushroom sauce and eat it.
And I'm not gonna lie, after that, I think all birds would go to jail. I'd be like, that's it, all birds.
All birds get out of my kingdom.
Done.
Hey, if you're a bird, get out.
NBA, baby! No birds allowed.
Yeah. Also, though, suggests a prequel that I would love to read of the
governess?
The governess.
Yeah.
Like what had she been through?
Okay, what I think happened up until now is that it was a curse. Mm-hmm. It was like the bird cursed her. She always had sorrow, and then you have to pass it along and give it to someone else. And so the kid was like, what is that? And she's like, here you go, take it.
It's like the Ring / It Follows situation.
Yes. Yeah. And then when they left, it doesn't line up with him saying, like, I could be your slave forever. But, like, when they left... Oh, except that the governess probably forsook him? Betrayed him. She probably did betray him, and then he was just with her, always causing sorrow. And then she passed it on. And since the princess hadn't, I think that's what happened.
I think so. There's a lot going on in this story.
It's so good, though. The one thing that I recognized is the princess... having blood put on her mouth and her baby's disappearing and then being taken. That's in the Arne Thompson Uther. Did you look up the type? Mm-mm. So that's an actual type. I'm not going to look it up. That's an actual type of fairy tale of princesses who are framed for eating their babies. It's a weird thing.
Good.
Everything else was brand new.
Yeah. I had a really hard time researching this story. I have a really hard time researching every story because I get a certain kind of myopia in my Googling habits where I'll Google, like, werewolf stories, like earlier tonight when I wanted to tell a werewolf story. Mm-hmm. And it'll be like, oh, did you want to go to fanfiction.net? And I'm like, no. Yes. Or, like, it'll be like the werewolf section on... like the True Blood wiki or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not what I want. And then I'll do like werewolf stories folklore, and it'll be like basically, you know, in Twilight when Bella like Googles vampires.
Yes.
It's like that. Like there aren't.
And then her Google search says buy this book. She has to go buy a book.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. It's really rough. And what makes this story more difficult is that it's from Turkey. Which means that if you Google, like, I was like, what's the significance of being a tassel maker? I said, turkey tassel maker. And I got a bunch of Pinterest DIYs for how to make Thanksgiving turkeys with tassels. There's also, when the prince finds the princess in a tree, he asks, are you an inn or are you a djinn? And that's I-N and J-I-N.
Yeah.
Which I've never heard before. And I looked it up.
Of the inn, yeah.
Huh?
Of the inn, for sure. Like, what...
No, like in, like I-N, not I-N-N.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We've heard of gin.
Yeah, exactly. So I tried to, I Googled turkey in, and it was like, turkeys in Europe. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's real fucking hard.
Yeah, it was really difficult to look up any information about this. And this is also not a well-recorded fairy tale, which actually brings me to something which I absolutely would have forgot to tell you about already.
Ooh.
As I was trying to research this, I was like, let's see some tropes about, like, Turkish fairy tales.
Yeah.
Which I didn't find any. But what I did find is a wonderful article about the current task going on in Turkey to try and preserve the Anatolian oral tradition fairy tales, which is a massive, like, scholarly undertaking that's happening right now, as of, like, the end of last year, to try and see if you have internet access and you are from Turkey and you have a folktale, they're asking that you record it either if you can't type. They're asking that you record it vocally and they'll transcribe it or anything like that. Because Anatolian folktales are exclusively, like, oral tradition.
Yeah.
And always have been traditionally. But with, like, that tradition sort of dying out, they're trying to preserve it by creating a written record of it, which is really cool.
That's fantastic. It's kind of, it's Brothers Grimm, Confucius did that, like, just collecting all of these stories. It's cool as hell.
Yes. So the project is called Masal, Masal, and it is trying to preserve, they have a goal of 10,000 stories to preserve from Anatolia for future generations. So that's really cool. If you're, for some reason, from Turkey and listening to me completely botch a traditional Turkish fairy tale, then please tell the correct version on Masal, because it's really cool.
Okay, it sounded fucking good to me.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Great. As far as I know, you're an expert.
As far as anyone knows.
Yeah. Except for people in Turkey.
Except for people in Turkey. Also, people in Turkey didn't realize how hard it was to Google things where you are, so good on you. I'm very sorry. Yeah.
Awesome job.
The story.
And that was sort of the story.
This
was a very fun episode. As of right now, it is 1 hour and 35 minutes long. I'm going to try to get down to a solid 120. So,
120, blaze it.
120, kind of, you know what? Take a little toke, okay? Not too much, you still got to go to work.
Yeah. 120, simmer it.
120, do this, take a little siesta, like a little nap. And then wake up and do it all over again. This cat is clawing the shit out of my knees. If you were hearing a tiny bell, that was Fig with her collar on, jingle jangling, and now she's in my lap, so I took the collar off, and now she's punishing me. Guys, thank you for joining us, and we will see you again soon. Bye, guys! That's a big old testing. Can they hear?
Slurp.
Everyone loves mouth sounds.
Yeah. Welcome to Mouth Sounds, the podcast.
Oh my god. Welcome to Mouth Sounds.
I can do my really wet boots cats again.
Do it.
It wasn't that wet. Janey.
Hello. And welcome to
Mouth Sounds, the podcast.